Hi, welcome to TDCat Tech and welcome to a review of the Heimvision Soothe 3 video monitoring system. It's a baby monitor basically, and this has been sent to me free of charge for review, but all opinions are entirely my own. This isn't an advert. It was sent to me free of charge. I have no reason to buy one of these anymore. My children are old enough not to need such a thing anymore, but I do feel I'm partially qualified at least to review a product like this purely because I am a parent, and plus I have a serious interest in cameras and any kind of webcam stuff. So if you're just after a quick summary and you don't want to watch the whole contents of this video, would I recommend this? Yes, I would. It excels in 5 areas. Firstly, battery life. Secondly, image quality. Thirdly, wireless range, functionality, and it's super simple to use. It has its niggles, it's not perfect, and I'll cover that in more detail now. Well, let's have a look in the box and see what you get. First of all, you get a user manual, and I have to say that this is a nice user manual. It's not kind of badly written, it's really nicely presented, really clear, good information, and gives confidence in a company, doesn't it, when they give you a decent user manual. When their tech stuff has been properly translated or properly written, I think it just gives you that bit of confidence that you've bought a decent product. This is the baby monitor unit. It's quite large. I'll come on to that a little bit later because that's really not a problem, and there's a good reason for it too. And it also comes with a decent length micro USB cable, because the micro USB charges the camera itself. Now, the monitor I just showed you there can connect up to 4 cameras. You can put 4 cameras on that, but this particular package only comes with 1 camera. So this is the camera. It's a 2.4 gigahertz connection. It's a wireless connection. But of course, the beauty of a baby monitor is that it is completely independent of all other wireless stuff. So you're not connecting it to the internet, you're not connecting it to your network in the house at all. It's totally separate from that, and it just works on its own network with its own pairing. And that's good because a lot of people are concerned with cameras around security. Not really a concern with a baby monitor, and I think that's one of the big plus points with this type of system. It also comes with 2 of these adapters, 2 5-volt USB adapters. The other goes into the side of the monitor here. This is a USB-C connection, so we kind of have a mix here on this. It also comes with a fixing bracket like this, together with screws and roll plugs and what have you. And I always think to myself when I look at these kind of things, and this is sort of one point I always notice with baby monitors, is I don't want to fix this to somewhere. Baby monitors are temporary things, right? You're not going to be using them for that long, hopefully. But this comes with something you can fit to the wall. I don't want to fit it to the wall. I want a decent mechanism by which I can move it around, adapt to the circumstances that my baby or child is in at any particular time, whether it be a cot or moving to a type of bed or moving the furniture around in the nursery or the room that you're in. And I want a camera to be able to fit to that environment. They always fail in that point, and this one does too. It sort of sits like this, and there's a certain amount of movement in the camera. I would prefer a camera to have an actual kind of clamp on it or something like that, so that you can fit it really easily with some sort of gooseneck or whatever and angle it to the exact position you want, but anywhere. So you can clamp it onto a bookcase, you can clamp it onto the side of the cot, clamp it onto a wardrobe above, something like that. Okay, I just want to interrupt myself here because I've realised that the part of this bracket that fits to the camera does actually have a 1/4-20 thread on it, which is a standard tripod screw, meaning that if you already own something like a Gorilla Pod or a little tripod or something, you can use that with this camera to achieve all those nice positions that I would prefer. It doesn't come with the camera, but if you've already got it, that's great. So a nice addition with the set that I didn't notice previously. So let's take a bit of a closer look at the camera. You can see here that it is a PTZ camera, so the pan tilt zoom is all controlled from the actual monitor itself, so it rotates 355 degrees round. As far as up and down, it's only 55 degrees, and again, I find that a little bit of a limitation with these kind of things, because if you can fit the camera perfectly, it works great. The camera here, you can see, has got a little slot there for a micro SD card. And the reason for that, and you can fit a micro SD card into both the monitor and the camera. The camera, you can put 128 gig micro SD card in there, and this will record video at 1080p. So this camera has the capability of recording at HD quality, and it will store it to the card on the camera itself. You can also get a second recording on the monitor. So when you're getting a feed into the monitor, you can say, when I'm getting a feed, I want to record, and you can be recording permanently on the camera. So it's a really cool setup actually, because you've got the decent quality stuff on the camera itself, which you can go and look back on if you need to, but you also have the recording on the monitor itself. So if you're watching something and you think, oh, did something happen there? What happened? I want to play back. You can go back and just review the footage directly on the monitor at that moment. And then if you say, I need more detail on that, you can go to the camera. But the footage from the monitor, and I'll show you that on the monitor itself, there, the footage that goes into the micro SD card on the side of the monitor, that can't be played back on a computer. That's just for reviewing on the monitor. It's 480p footage, and it's just for reviewing on the monitor. On the camera, you can take the SD card out and you can look at that footage on the computer, and that's how I showed the footage at the start of the video. It has your night vision sort of sensor, because of course this has a night vision and infrared LED to allow you to view stuff that's going on at nighttime. Quality is reasonable. The actual range of the night vision is not incredible compared to other cameras, but it's good enough, and you can certainly see what's going on, and it's nice and clear. And then you also have a reset button here on the camera too, in case everything messes up and you just want to start from scratch. On the back of the camera, 2.4 gigahertz antenna. Nice to see an external antenna. Internal antennas are neat, but I always think that an external antenna is going to just have a bit of a performance gain over an internal antenna. Just my opinion. I don't really have any evidence of that, but from a radio kind of background, I think that that's going to be a performance benefit for any kind of wireless situation. Get it out of the electronics and have it on a separate antenna. And then you've got your speaker here as well, because you can, of course, play music through this camera, and you can talk through this camera as well. So there needs to be a speaker on there. And then the temperature sensor, which gets fed back to the monitor, and the monitor has alarms and stuff for if the temperature is below 18 Celsius or above 30 Celsius. So there we go, that's a look at the camera. Let's take a look at the monitor. Now this is a large monitor. It's like a really hefty old phone, isn't it? It looks like an old phone. But it's a decent 5-inch screen on this, and everything is controlled from the buttons down the side. There's no kind of touch screen on this, and that's good, because otherwise you just get finger marks all over it. It's nice to have just positive tactile buttons. I love that about this. There's none of the touchscreen interface on this at all, and you don't need it. It's simple enough to control without it. On top, we have, again, an antenna that can be pulled out like that. You don't need to. You can probably still pick it up, but the antenna can be extended like that to allow better reception and just a little bit more range. And then we have our power button on top and our Vox button to enable the Vox, which is essentially the sound operated side of it, so it detects whether stuff is going on in the baby's room. On the back is a little flip out stand to allow this to stand on a desk. Pretty neat. Just stays in place nicely. In fact, to be honest, it's a really simple system, and it just seems to work nicely. I've had no problems with this. I've used this. I've put it in my 2-year-old's room for a few nights and just had a go messing around with it, tried range and stuff like that. And the range on this is quite impressive. 2.4, it's just, I mean, it's 2.4 gigahertz. You're not going to get anything amazing out of it. It's pretty much what 2.4 gigahertz standard wireless can do. However, I have found that it is the upper end of that, really. I can happily go from one end of my house to the other, which I find pretty difficult with a 2.4 gigahertz wireless connection, but I can stream the footage over that distance without too much of a problem. So coverage is probably the best I've seen on a baby monitor, but don't expect miracles. It is still a 2.4 gig connection. So, you know, if you've got a massive west wing and an east wing in your house, you're not going to get the coverage you need with something like this. As far as just going from upstairs to downstairs, not a problem. It works absolutely fine. I'm going to take you through the menus now, and this might take a little bit of time, so if you're not interested in this bit, you can just skip to the conclusion. The image here is getting streamed directly from the camera right now. It's just across the room from me. I can move the camera really, really simply just using these arrows, so I can just rotate the camera around. I can zoom into the image just by pressing the middle button like that, get a quick closer look at something. And then I can switch between cameras that I've got paired. You can see that this is camera number 1 at the top of the screen here. And then you can see that I've got audio on, and the temperature is 21 Celsius. Battery level is high, signal level is high. I can talk to the camera by pressing the microphone button here. If I press and hold, it will talk to the camera. I personally always think that might be a little bit freaky, but I guess you might be able to soothe the baby that way, but not something I've ever managed to do. Now, if I press this button here, go into the settings of the camera, and you can select all your cameras here, your different channels, and go back just with that top button as well. And then you can set a feeding schedule as well, so you can have it alert you every certain amount of time as to when you need to feed the baby, because of course when you have a newborn, it's a very sort of strict schedule around feeding, and the chances are you've fallen asleep if you know you have the possible chance to. So you can have this alert you at a set period of time just to wake you up for feeding. And then you can have an alarm sound, and you can adjust the sensitivity of that alarm. Low, it would need to hear a loud cry to send you an alarm. But if it's set to high, probably just a normal speaking voice or just a baby kind of murmuring to itself will sound an alarm on the monitor. Then you can have a temperature alarm as well. Then you have the standard music section here, where you can play soothing songs for your baby. Soothing? I'm sure that's soothing. Okay, so there we go. You got an idea of the type of stuff that you can play. I guess it's all right, but I've never been a huge fan of those. I've never used them when I've used baby monitors in the past. But it's there for you if you are someone that's a fan of that and your baby likes that sort of stuff. Every baby is different, aren't they? And then we got more tech stuff. So display. Whether the display actually goes off. I left this on my battery test, so I had this off because I wanted the display to stay on for the whole of the battery test. But you can have it go off just after 1 minute or 10 minutes or 30 minutes. And then the recording function here, when you have a card in the device, you can say I want to record on the monitor, or I want to record on each of these channels permanently, and it'll just kind of purge old data when I think it records in hour-long segments, and then it purges old data when it gets full. And then playback on here, you can just, as soon as you've recorded something, and there's nothing recorded on here at the moment, there's no card in it either, but you can just go into the playback section and just scroll through and select a time and what have you, and look at the footage. Let's just go back into here. System settings, date and time, language, factory reset, memory card, so we can format there and things like that. But all standard stuff. And then just about, which I'm guessing just gives sort of support information there. Yeah. As far as battery life is concerned, Heimvision claim in the manual that this does about 8 hours, but they don't really claim sort of what brightness level the screen's on or whether it's recording or not. So I charged it up this morning, put it on at 11 o'clock, which is just over 6 hours ago. And you can see now that the battery is in the red, so it's at a point where you'd really probably want to start charging it again to be comfortable. But this has been on medium brightness, and I have been recording to the micro SD card here all the time as well. So the 8-hour claim, I'm totally happy with that, because you could easily sort of just tap here and reduce the brightness of the screen down to the minimum, not record, and I'm pretty certain you'd get the full 8 hours out of this. But of course, it's USB-C charging, so if you've got any sort of semi-respectable power bank, you can easily double or triple the life of that anyway. So I don't think battery power is a concern with this. It's a decent battery inside the unit, and it lasts for a good amount of time. So in conclusion, this is a really solid offering from Heimvision. I really can't find too much bad to say about it. If you're someone who wants access from your smartphone, this isn't for you. The purpose of this is to have a completely separate baby monitor unit that you can be absolutely certain is completely secure and is completely separate from all your other kind of internet access and other devices. And that's great if that's what you want, but of course if you do want that smartphone connectivity, then you will need something different. That's not a fault of the product though, that's the way it's designed. Functionality wise, it's got everything you're going to need on there really. The tunes, I mean, I've never found them to be of any use whatsoever. In fact, I've always been a bit scared to put them on for fear of waking my baby rather than soothing a baby. But I guess they probably work for some people. They must have been tested, right? I don't find them particularly good, but I don't know. That's just my opinion. You might have a different experience. But yeah, they're kind of not the most incredible feature and not the best selection of tunes maybe on this particular device. But as far as everything else goes, range, reliability, battery life, functionality as a whole, and image quality, this camera set and baby monitor set has got it sorted. It's the Heimvision Soothe 3. I'll put links in the description. As I say, all my opinions are entirely my own on this video, although I have been sent the product. But thank you very much for watching. I hope you found this useful. If you've got any questions, put them in the comments and I will answer them as soon as I can. Thanks for watching. See you soon. Bye.